Now, wait a minute.
The corrupting influence that money and privilege
Hold on, Belshi.
in American politics.
Hold on, Belshi.
You may have limited interaction with a judicial.
Sure. I just literally just finished recording about how the Supreme Court overturned, upheld the Florida law that not just in Florida, across the United States, that people can be arrested for being homeless and sleeping in the camps. And then I walk away. The video ends. I get up to go in there to make myself some breakfast, and Belshi comes up and says this. Do it now! Do it!
Conservative supermajority dealt a serious blow to democracy by overturning the 40-year-old legal precedent known as the Chevron doctrine in what many court watchers are calling a judicial power grab. This long-standing principle required courts to defer to federal agencies' own interpretation of laws that they administer in the case of ambiguities or questions about enforcement of laws. Now, this is just sensible. It's how functioning governments work. Congress or a legislature cannot possibly anticipate every question that might arise about any given law that's passed. So it typically, and again, it's not just in America, it's all over the world in working democracies.
Exactly.
The legislature typically delegates that sort of authority and enforcement to experts at the federal agencies who actually administer the law.
Right.
For example, the scientists at the Environmental Protection Agency, or the public health officials at the CDC, specialists in their respective fields who can interpret complex regulatory matters. Now, Friday's land.
But what did I just say I was going to hire for my administration? What did I just say? Okay. And so when they do this, literally, if they make the agencies make a law or a rule or a procedure and somebody abuses it, then it'll go back to Congress and Congress will step in and say, well, you can't do this way, do it that way.
And Mark ruling shifts that final say on ambiguity in federal laws from these experts to unelected judges at the federal level, potentially including those on the conservative supermajority of the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the ruling, which was split along ideological lines 6-3, is a major win for the conservative push to weaken federal agencies. It's often termed the war on the administrative state. This effort seeks to dismantle the regulatory framework that oversees crucial aspects of your life and of business, from education to the environment, to food safety, to healthcare. This effort by conservatives is detrimental to democracy because regulatory oversight by specialized agencies serves as a critical defense against predatory practices by companies and industries. It helps stave off the corrupting influence that money and privilege have in American politics. Well, you may have limited interaction with Congress and with your elect.
Who I say was doing this? Who have I been saying for the past? Capitalists. I'm just going to give you the answer. Capitalists. I don't know what else she's going to say because I haven't listened to this yet. Come on, Belshi, get it out.
To officials, the decisions made by these government agencies shape many aspects of your life, your health, and your money. Friday's ruling effectively undermines both the legislative and the executive branches of government by prioritizing judicial judgments over agency expertise. And in doing so, it diminishes Congress's ability to legislate effectively by delegating to these special agencies. The winners of this ruling, make no mistake about it, are likely to be large corporations.
What did I tell you?
The ruling also provides a significant boost to Project 2025, the conservative blueprint for the first 180 days of a potential second Trump term, which takes direct aim at the so-called administrative state several times in its 920 pages. Project 2025 aims to dismantle democratic institutions by purging the executive branch of career civil servants and replacing them with conservative ideologues whose loyalties lie with the president, presumably a future President Trump. Quote,
if y'all don't stop, then what have I been telling y'all? I promise you can go back 2 years and get my video, and I explained this. But y'all don't want me as a president. You think it's funny until I think I made an analogy to The insane man that killed everybody. Wow, Golda. Really? Wow, you doing a whole Joe Biden, a Donald Trump, and a Golda Harris all in one. I say his name all the time. And you can say the guy on TYT looks like Hitler. Adolf Hitler. Damn. That's horrible. But that's okay, because I'm 56, about to turn 57. So I can forget a name momentarily. But I got my faculties to go and get it and bring it up. And finish my sentence. But this is literally what I was telling you. Somebody said 2025 the other day. And I went and I just a Google search and looked it up and read about it. And he's not the guy that's the president of the one, but he looks like one of them. But you all don't know that this is coming to take away your rights. And so the people that they allowed, the replacement people for Americans, when Trump is in, and all the Democrats and Republicans are in because they allowed the migrants to vote. They're gonna kick the migrants out. That's what all this passing the law that you can't sleep on the streets. So some migrants, that they find beneficial, they're going to let them stay. But there are other migrants that got businesses they gave grants to. You guys think that you in America and they let you get a grant, they let you get a business. Oh, they're going to kick your ass out. They're going to kick you out. Yeah. They don't care if you can go back to your country or not. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about all of y'all that just came for the last 5 to 10 years. Y'all getting out with these people, with Trump or Biden. It doesn't matter. That's why they don't care if Trump gets in there. All right. That's why they don't care. That's why they propping Biden up and they saying, no, let him go. Okay, so hopefully, how long is this? Okay, I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'm not.
The administrative state is often at odds with conservative thought, even under conservative leadership. Unless conservatives take a firm hand to the bureaucracy and marshal its power, nothing will stop the bureaucracy's anti-free market leftist march. There are many tools to bring the administrative state to heel, and in the process, defang and defund the woke culture warriors who have infiltrated every last institution in America. Our goal is to assemble an army of trained and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state, end quote. That's one of the most important.
And this is why I said whoever works in my administration are getting pardons. Day one, you have to get a pardon if you work in my administration, because when I leave, people like this are going to try and come after you. Is Biden offering anybody at the FBI, the CIA, or any agency, any of y'all being offered a pardon by Biden? How about Donald Trump? Is he offering any of the people a pardon? No, you're not going to get one. But I wanted to hear what these two say, because they're on top of their game.
Rulings that to come down from the Supreme Court. Mondays may be more important about immunity, but I don't know if that's true. A government works because legislators delegate authority to a civil service that is supposed to be made up of career people, non-politicized people, and experts to execute the laws that a legislature passes. This fundamentally guts that process.
Yeah, this is more important than immunity because it changes the fundamental structure of American government, and it takes power directly away from the people and puts it in the hand of unelected judges. We talk about this as Chevron doctrines, we talk about this as executive agency power, but understand what those legal jargon terms means. The President of the United States, who we all get to vote for, gets to place the heads of these executive agencies whose job, constitutionally speaking, is to enforce laws passed by Congress. This ruling on Friday says that no matter who we elect for president, no matter what agency heads and policies he puts in, no matter what Congress says, that the enforcement power that is given to the president has been taken away and given to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is now the body that nobody gets to vote for, is now the body that's in charge of enforcing laws passed by Congress. So when Congress says there should be clean water, guess who gets to decide what the word clean means in that context? That is now the Supreme Court,
right,
not the scientists at the EPA. Guess who gets to decide what water
I want a
means
scientist determining that. Yeah.
And now the
Supreme Court. Yeah, no, this is the point. But Jody, the problem is this is the consequence. This is the consequence of carrying on about the deep state. But it's not even that. That's just a recent development. This really started with Reagan, saying many decades ago that the era of big government is over. It's just been an attack on government. You can argue that there are too many civil servants. You can argue that there are some regulations that shouldn't be there that are inefficient. But we've gotten carried away with this whole thing, and we've just simply decided that the administrative state, the regulatory state, is a bad thing. Without the regulatory state, I'd have diarrhea every day because I'd be eating spoiled milk. I'd be sick from paint that had lead in it. My life would be a disaster if somebody didn't actually administer the rules, and I don't need Congress doing that.
So let me put this in context, right? As you're saying, Congress basically tells the administrative agencies, think about who they are: the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Food and Drug Administration, right? It says to them, do these jobs for us, right? Protect investors from fraud, make sure that there's clean air and clean water, make sure that the drug and food supply is safe, right? And then it says to the agencies, you figure out on a day-to-day basis how to accomplish those goals, how to implement these statutes, and how to enforce them against violators. This decision, which overturns, as you say, the Chevron principle, is really about shifting the benefit of the doubt. It used to be, for 40 years now, that the benefit of the doubt goes to the agency.
Okay, so Chevron is the Chevron gas company that poisoned and killed people. And this is why they keep saying the Chevron, and they had to pay out all this money. So that's why they keep referencing that case law.
Congress wasn't perfectly clear, and there's some ambiguity or gap in the law, the agency gets the first kick at the can to decide, well, what would Congress have wanted here, and what's the best way to interpret it? What the Supreme Court has done is throw away decades of precedent and say, oh, no benefit of the doubt to the expert agency. Rather, we, the court, will decide in every instance what every word in the statute means. And they can do that in a way that cuts back on regulation and makes it harder for the agency to act. And one more thing I'd add, this case is not alone. There are a series of cases that the Supreme Court has been deciding, that the court's been deciding at every stage of the regulatory process, adopting rules, implementing those rules, and then enforcing them and assessing penalties. At every single stage, the court has cut back on the ability of the agencies to do that. So you have to look at the set of cases this term, all of which limit agency power, make it harder to regulate, and in a way it disrespects both the Congress and the executive branch, amassing power for the court itself.
Now, why would they do that? Why is that being done? For whom is that being done? Don't stay in suspense. I've been telling you all along, it's the capitalists. And the capitalists have said, you all are costing us too much money. You all want rights. You all want benefits. You all want to have 4 and 5 babies and expect us to pay. You all want to go out and cut up your genitalia and let your kids decide that they don't want to be boys or girls. And we're going to change all of that. And every Democrat and every Republican that's in office right now has sat there with their eyes closed and looked the other way while this took place. And then I hear y'all praising people like Clyburn, Pelosi, Crockett, what's his name? Jeff, I can't think of his name now. The speaker, the so-called speaker. But y'all look at me like I'm crazy and say, lady, why are you wasting your time? You can't run for president. I'll be damned if I spent my entire life with rights And then I wake up one day, and because I decided to sit on my butt like the rest of y'all and be lazy and trifling like the rest of y'all and do nothing, America is no longer America. I already told her y'all being replaced. I'm grandfathered into the system. But I do have family members. I do have 8 grandkids and possibly 1 great-grandchild that has to inherit this world, and then their family, and then their families. So life doesn't stop at me. When I close my eyes, my family's still going to go on. Just like your family's still going to go on. So it makes a difference to me. But being replaced. So I'm going to go out here and try and buy this food while it's still cheap. This canned good food and all the stuff that can last. Because when Americans finally do wake up and realize what this government is doing, it's going to be too late to do anything. That's why I'm running now. Because now is the time to run. Now is the time to run. It doesn't make sense to run when it's too late. It doesn't make sense to run when Biden and Trump have given the capitalists everything they want. So I just wanted to share. I just wanted to share that. Now I have to watch it and listen to it to see what they're saying. But I've been saying it for 2 years. It's not even new. It's just happening now. It's happening now. And you see a smile on my face that it's happening now because I had so many people, Republican and Democrat and elites who used to looked at my channel and said, oh, let me see what she's talking about. They didn't believe me. Y'all had no faith in nothing that I was saying. Oh, she's being an alarmist. Oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She needs to dress better. Oh, she needs to run for mayor. Well, are you Democrat or Republican? Neither. In my administration, I need people to work. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, or if you're moderate, or if you're in between. Are you there to advance my plan?